Hello everyone, Tommy Station here. For those who can remember when I bought this and featured it a few weeks ago, I was amazed at the condition of it, and I did say how lucky I was to find one, because they're not easy to find, especially in such good condition. But what can be better than one when you can have two? This is the other one that was for sale on eBay. I felt so sorry for it. I thought, I'm going to get that. This was £15 plus post, I think. So as you can see, the canvas is in a bit of a mess. The lettering is actually perfect, but yeah, it needs a good upholstery cleaner. Yeah, so this will be another interesting one for me to clean up, renovate. There's a small hole in the canvas there. Also, this one will have to have its wheels. There we are. It'll have to have its wheels isolated, so it can run on 2-track. But like I say, the actual body is tin plate and past plastic. That's in quite good condition. But when we look at it closely like that, let's turn it around, use fingers. Yeah, bit stained. It looks like the hoops had some corrosion and it's come through the material. But there you are. So this will be a renovation project. Then I'll have 2 of these Marklin covered wagons. Okay, so on to the next step. Okay, so while the material is in there soaking, I'll start it up again in a minute. If you look at the top of the hoops, you can see the corrosion. And that's what's stained the material there. So that needs all to be cleaned up and repainted to try and prevent that happening again. I'm not sure how the material is going to come out like, whether it will be clean enough. But then let's just open it quickly. Oh, look at the colour of the water. It's quite dark. So let's give it another. Okay, let's see how we get on. Okay, for my next step, I've just rubbed some hand soap, liquid hand soap, into the material. Now I'm going to put some lemon juice in. I'm not going to go crazy. So this will be in my sonic cleaner. I'm going to put some warm water in, and then hopefully that will help to loosen things up when it's vibrating. So I just put it. There we are. That's that. And we'll close the door and start it up. So we'll leave that now. It's 3 minutes. So we'll see after a while if it makes any difference. Ciao. Okay, so what I've done, I've cleaned the hoops, the corrosion on the hoops, with a small brass brush, primed them, and then given them a coat of black. So that should help to control the corrosion. This is the material out of the sonic cleaner, and as you can see, it's got a few holes in it. So again, that's probably due to the corrosion, because that's where the stains are, or were. So it's not going to be spotless, but I think it's going to be a big improvement. So there's the backing cloth, and that should protect the underside of the material on the frames. On to the next one. Now I'm going to test the uninsulated Marklin wheels on the test track, and you hear the power supply beeping, so that's got a short. Now this is one, as they say on Blue Peter, this is one I prepared earlier, and now no short. So that's the insulated axle. Now what I'll do, I'll show you how I let's the one with the short. I'll pull a wheel off. Yeah, it came off in my hand. Then I'm going to push on the heat shrink, which is 1.2mm inside bore. I have to excuse my fingers here. So by pushing that on, as far as I can get it, there we are. So that's enough for now. So when I've drilled it and stuck and put the wheel on and super glued it, I can then trim off the excess, which is going to be on the end of the axle like that. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is measure the shaft of the axle, and that has come out at 2mm exactly. Now what I'll do, now that I've pressed on the heat shrink, I'm going to measure it again, and it's come out at 248. So now I'll show you the drill bit I'm using. This one was a bit too big, so that one is 247 according to the micrometer. So now we'll go over to the drill. That one is 250. Yeah, 250 exactly. Okay, so now what we'll do, switch it off, is I'll show you the little jig I made to hold the wheel. So that holds the wheel, but it doesn't move there. Then I'll take it over to my vise, drop it down there, and then what I normally do now is just gently push down with my finger to hold it, and I know through experiments that that is now perfectly level in all directions. So if you look at this, this is a sleeve I made from plastic card, and what happens, the wheel flange just slightly digs into the plastic and stops it from turning. So as I could bring the drill down, okay, I'll get a perfectly level hole, if that's, and it'll avoid wheel wobble. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to drill through the wheel. It's very noisy, so I've half drilled it, so we'll try and keep it noise down as much as possible. There we go, so that's the hole drilled, and the next step will be putting it onto the axle. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is apply some Loctite gel, super glue, onto the bushing I made, then slide on the wheel. Then I'll use my back-to-back gauge to set the gap, if I can. Let's see if I can do it that way. There we are. So by holding that and rotating it, that will set the clearance of the back-to-back. And just by gently rolling it, I found that sets it nicely square. Okay, so next one. Okay, so as you saw before, this is the covered wagon I bought. It was in good condition, and then you've already seen pictures of the second one I bought that was in quite poor condition. So this is the finished article. I like to call this a sympathetic restoration. The material is original, What I've done to cover the holes up is use some of the remaining piece of handkerchief I used when I made some covered wagons. So I've inserted that between this canvas and the backing material. So there's no longer any visible holes. I have had to do a little bit of a touch up on the corner, but what I'll do now, I'll remove this one and turn this one around slowly. So as you can see, the corrosion has eaten away the material and made holes. So I'm going to leave that, because for me that's part of the history of this wagon. I think it might have been left outside or in damp conditions, because those hoops shouldn't go rusty really. So you can see I've pulled the ends closer together, how they should be. So again, I didn't want a perfect restoration. I wanted to keep some of the wear and tear that's been that it's had over the years. Okay, so as you can see now, it's on its insulated wheels. So the next thing to do will be to give it a test up on the track one day. Okay, so one final look. So quite happy how it turned out. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye now.